Let's talk about something special. Well, we're not just looking at games that are fun to play. We're talking about the ones that completely take over. You might think that's funny, right? But there are games that make you lose track of time, where just one more mission turns into an all-nighter, and suddenly the sun's coming up. These are the ones that stick with you long after you've put the controller down. So get comfortable because we're about to dive into 10 masterpiece games you absolutely have to experience at least once. Let's just start with The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. Well, it is one of those games that makes your jaw just drop the moment you start. I still remember the first time I leapt from those sky islands with the wind rushing past and looked down at all of Hyrule laid out before me. It didn't feel like I was in a game. It felt like pure freedom, like the world was truly mine to explore. And Link, man, it's not just about swinging a sword. You really feel the weight of what he's doing, carrying the hope of an entire world. Every single step, every puzzle you finally crack, every discovery you make feels like it genuinely matters. What gets me is how personal the journey becomes. You might spend hours building some insane vehicle just to cross a chasm, or get completely lost exploring a single tiny cave, and none of it feels like a waste of time. It all feels so meaningful, like it was a part of your own unique adventure. Sure, it can be a little overwhelming at first. You might look at that massive world and wonder where you even start, but that's the beauty of it. My advice? Don't try to rush to the ending. Let the world breathe. Let it surprise you with its little secrets. Because the magic of Tears of the Kingdom isn't just a story to follow. It's the one you get to create all for yourself. Next, we start with The Witcher 3, which isn't just a game, it feels like stepping into a living, breathing storybook that refuses to let you go. Wandering through Velen for the first time, with the swamp stretching out in front of me, the sky heavy, and Geralt trudging forward with that quiet sense of duty, it's not just about fighting monsters. It's about carrying the weight of choices that stick with you long after you've put the controller down. Every character feels alive, from Yennefer's sharp wit to the bloody Baron's heartbreaking tale, and even the strangers you meet along the road leave marks on your memory. Sure, the menus can feel messy and the combat isn't perfect, but once the world grabs you, none of that matters. My advice? Don't treat it like a sprint. Slow down, take in the sunsets, listen to the conversations, and let yourself care. Because when it's over, you'll realize it wasn't just Geralt's journey, it became yours too.
The Last of Us Part 2. Now, you're gonna say, why this? And my answer is because of its smooth playstyle. Although its story is not perfect for some fans, but the gameplay is very smooth and enjoyable. It is one of those games that doesn't just tell a story, it makes you feel it, whether you're ready for it or not. From the very first moments, there's this weight pressing down on you, and every step you take with Ellie feels heavier than the last. It's not just about survival in a broken world, it's about anger, loss, and the search for something worth holding on to. What makes it so unforgettable is how human it all feels. The quiet moments, the little guitar songs, the awkward jokes. They cut just as deep as the violence and heartbreak. Sure, some people struggled with its pacing or the risks it took with the story, but that's what makes it so powerful. It refuses to play it safe. My advice? Don't go in expecting comfort, because this isn't that kind of game. Go in ready to hurt, to reflect, and to be changed. Because when the credits roll, you won't just remember the journey, you'll remember how it made you feel.
Now, we had a lot of games in list, and which Silent Hill 2 is one of them. It isn't just a horror game. It's an experience that crawls under your skin and stays there long after you've put down the controller. The fog, the empty streets, the way every corner feels wrong. It's not just about monsters. It's about the ghosts you carry inside. Playing as James, you're pulled into a story that's less about survival and more about guilt, grief, and facing truths you wish you could bury. While initially the game feels more like a horror game, especially seeing Pyramid Head through darkness, that's what made me jump out of the chair. But later, I think this game becomes more psychological rather than horror. What makes it so unforgettable is how quiet it can be. Sometimes the silence is louder than the screams, and the weight of every step feels almost unbearable. Sure, the controls can be clunky by today's standards, but somehow that only adds to the tension, making you feel helpless in the best way. I still remember James doing Search Mission with Maria. You should definitely play it slow and enjoy every moments in puzzles, because Silent Hill 2 isn't just horror, it's tragedy, and that's why it's a masterpiece.
Metro Exodus is the kind of game that grabs you with its atmosphere and makes you live inside its world. It cannot receive a good critics at launch, but however, it's still a great 10 out of 10 game. When I played it, I still remember that first moment you leave the safety of the underground and step into the open, seeing the wasteland stretched out before you. It's both haunting and beautiful. As Artyom, you're not just pushing through enemies, you're carrying the fragile hope of a better life, searching for something worth believing in. What stays with you aren't only the battles, but the quiet times, the long train journeys, the small talks with the crew, the feeling of family holding together in a world that's falling apart. Yes, the shooting can feel a bit heavy, and the survival systems take effort, but they add to the tension and make every bullet, every filter, every choice matter. My advice? Slow down and let the game breathe. Take in the silence, the shadows, the broken landscapes, and the rare sparks of warmth. Metro Exodus isn't just a story of survival. It's a journey of hope in a world that forgot what hope was.
Hogwarts Legacy doesn't just drop you into a world, it lets you finally live the dreams so many of us grew up imagining. From the moment you step through those castle gates, there's this rush of nostalgia mixed with discovery, as if you've somehow been invited into a secret you always knew was waiting. It's not just about spells and duels. It's the little things, like hearing the chatter in the common rooms or sneaking into corners of the castle you probably shouldn't be in. The beauty of it is how personal it feels. You're not just following someone else's story, you're writing your own in the middle of this legendary world. Sure, there are moments where the open world chores remind you it's still a game, but the magic overwhelms all that. By the time you're soaring over the grounds on a broomstick, you're not thinking about flaws. You're just grinning, because this is the Hogwarts you always wanted.
Grand Theft Auto 5 is one of those games that feels less like a story you're playing and more like a world you're just dropped into. Los Santos is alive in a way few games ever capture. Sunlight bouncing off skyscrapers, traffic jams in the city, quiet nights on the pier. It all feels like a place that keeps moving even when you're not there. Switching between Michael, Franklin, and Trevor isn't just a cool mechanic. It's like stepping into 3 different lives, each with their own struggles, chaos, and ambitions that somehow weave together into something unforgettable. What makes it stick isn't only the heists or the big cinematic missions, but the freedom to just exist, to drive, to explore, to waste time in ways that somehow don't feel wasted at all. Sure, the game shows its age in spots, and sometimes the controls can frustrate you, but when you're in the middle of it, none of that matters. GTA 5 isn't just a sandbox, it's a playground of stories, choices, and moments you end up talking about for years.
Cyberpunk 2077 is one of those games that had a rocky start but slowly grew into something unforgettable. Initially, the game had a lot of bugs and technical issues, but the graphics were amazing. The first time I walked through Night City, I felt like I was stepping into a living, breathing world. Neon lights reflecting off wet streets, crowds rushing by, cars blasting past you. It's overwhelming in the best way. Playing as V, you're not just shooting and hacking your way through quests. You're living a story about survival, loyalty, and identity in a world that doesn't care if you make it or not. And then there's Johnny Silverhand, constantly in your head, mocking you, guiding you, challenging every choice you make. Sure, it had bugs at launch, but with all the updates, it's hard to deny just how ambitious and alive this world feels. My advice?
Don't just speed through the main story. Explore, get lost, find the little moments in side quests, because that's where Cyberpunk shines.
Elden Ring is the kind of game that makes you feel small in the best way possible. Well, if you are a fan of Souls-like game, this one will deliver you a lot. The lands between stretch out endlessly, full of secrets hiding in every corner, and you never really know what's waiting over the next hill, beauty or absolute terror. You start fragile, fumbling through fights, but every victory feels like you've carved it out with your own hands. There's something haunting about exploring a ruined castle at midnight, only to stumble into a boss that feels like it crawled straight out of a nightmare. But then you see that golden tree glowing in the distance, and it keeps pulling you forward. What really makes it special is the freedom. You don't follow the game. You carve your own story, your own legend. Elden Ring doesn't hold your hand, and that's why it stays with you. It's not just a game, it's a trial, a discovery, and honestly, one of the most unforgettable adventures ever made.
Finally, Red Dead Redemption 2, which is more than a game. It's a world you end up living in. I know you guys must be like, come on, every game in this list is your personal favorite. Yes, they are. I love all of them, especially Witcher 3. But Red Dead Redemption 2 had a special place in my heart, which I think only GTA 6 could break. Well, I don't know much about that. The first time I rode out of camp at sunrise, with the light cutting across the mountains and the music slowly building, I knew I was in for something special. Arthur Morgan isn't just another character. You feel every struggle, every choice, every bit of weight he carries as the world around him starts to change. What makes it unforgettable isn't just the big story moments, but the small ones, the campfire talks, the quiet fishing trips, the way strangers on the road sometimes leave the biggest impact. Sure, the opening feels slow, and sometimes you might get frustrated with the little details, but that's what makes it so real. My advice? Don't rush it. Wander, explore. Take your time with Arthur's journey, because the more you let it breathe, the more it becomes a part of you. And when it's over, you won't just remember the story, you'll remember the life you lived in it.